Hi everyone, welcome to this advanced features walkthrough. We're going to be taking a look at 4 features that have been used by many of our users once they get to a pretty advanced level. Those 4 features are going to be My Week, automations, integrations, and dashboard with widgets. What you're going to look at now is a few boards that I'm assigned to. Here I'm part of the operations team, and I'm assigned to high-level operations, new employee onboarding, order management, vendor lists, and others. So if you notice here, there's specific tasks that I need to complete along with my team. But perhaps you might be thinking, okay, where can I filter or pull in just my tasks that are due on a weekly basis? Like that I can keep them organized and I don't have to go between different boards to do that. For that, we created My Week. So My Week will pull information, specific tasks or projects that are connected to a person column, a status column, and a date column or timeline column. Once you have these 3 columns in one board and you have assigned a particular person to each one of them, it would automatically populate in My Week. Now, if you're looking to make sure that some boards may have those 3 columns, but you may not necessarily need them to display, but others you definitely want to display, that's where you would go in and add in an additional layer, which is the deadline mode. So you can go here to a date line column and connect there to set us a deadline. This would ask you to select a particular status column, connect it, and then you'll see how a link becomes between the two, or if they're next to each other, how they'll connect. You can also simply remove that deadline by clicking once again on the date and remove deadline mode. So now that we set this up so My Week can work properly, let's actually go directly to My Week and see what we're pulling. So here in My Week, you're able to actually see what your teammates and yourselves are assigned to. So you can see perhaps certain tasks are already done, others that have not been done and that were due previously. You can go here and see the next week there's 11 assignments, and you can see who else is assigned to it. You might have noticed here that it's not only pulling myself, but many others. If you go here to the top right where it says following, you can actually go ahead and add your team to follow. So here's my team in operations, and now I'm following them. So it's very useful for those managers or perhaps leaders that are looking to see what other teammates are doing, where they are, and making sure that everything is moving along. A great thing with My Week is that you can also interact right within it. So here, for example, I have Lucy, and perhaps she was not able to actually get something done because she was waiting for a decision here. When you click on it, it actually pulls up more information about that task. And I can even communicate with her right from the status column by doing a little drop down. I can mention her and ask if I can offer any help. That goes directly towards her, and she's able to know whether it's done or not. She can then reply and say, hey, this is done, you can change it. And right from here, I can click on done and move it down. Let's go ahead and perhaps think about ways that you can make your team more efficient. A lot of times you might want some specific triggers to automatically do things for you if you're changing a specific status or you want to notify someone because something is done. We know that you can do it with monday.com through different means, but wouldn't it be great for it to be done automatically? So let's look at that. Let's look at our new automations. So the 2 ways to add an automation is by going here on the left to new, clicking on automation, or going on the top right and clicking on automations here. By clicking on it, you'll see the different types of triggers that you can now not only do within monday.com, but third-party platforms. What you'll notice is that the language that we currently use is that automations are within between monday.com and monday.com. Anything to a third-party platform like Twilio, Slack, Gmail, MailChimp, that's going to be called an integration. So what we're going to start with is with an automation that will trigger a particular automation within this board. So the one that we're going to go for is when a status changes to something, notify someone. So here, if I go and click on it, I'll get the ability to click on status. I'll be able to change to something, and then I want to get notified with the name and the board name, pulse name and the board name, and then say you can proceed to next steps. And then finally that person. In this particular scenario, we'll choose me so you can see how that automation will work. We're going to add it to the board, and there you can see that if you hover over, you'll be able to delete it, edit it, or turn it on and off. So let's try it. So now if I click here, if Lucy here goes from ongoing to done, this now triggers a nice little notification for me. And now you can see first day welcome packet is now completed, and I can proceed to the next steps. So that's one aspect of it. There's many others. Let's look at another one. So let's say, for example, you have a board organized, and what you want to do is that once you're done with a particular task, that it moves to another group. For example, let's say I have a task here that I need to move down to my own hold. Let's create an automation that does it for us. So if I go to automations, add automations, monday.com, and we're going to look for when a status changes to something, move pulse to group. So we're going to once again select the status column status. We're going to, whenever it's changed to on hold, we're going to move it to the group on hold tasks. So now when we go back to the board, and for example here, if this needs to be actually set back to on hold, we can move that there, and that automatically now moves down. And that's a nice little preview of automations. Now let's look at an integration with a third-party platform. So just like we added an automation, we're going to go back and now we're going to add an integration. And in this case, we're going to use Gmail. So here we're going to click on Gmail. And the integration that we're going to do now is when a status changes to something, send email with subject to someone. So in this particular scenario, we're going to select your particular email. We're then going to select the column, which is going to be status column. We're then going to see when someone is stuck, send an email with the pulse name, board name, and username. And you can clearly say just please help. The structure would be take a look. And then finally, in this particular case, once again, it could be me, it could be a team member, it could be someone that's assignee. You could even have an email column. So for those that, if you have an actual email that you want to send out to others or out external, you can also do that. But in this scenario, we're going to select me again. And now we've created it. Similar like earlier, you can now see how you can delete it. You can edit the authentication or edit the automation integration. So now let's do that. Let's say, for example, if Jordan here is actually moves to stuck, I actually get now an email with that information. It gives me what what board we're on, what pulse is talking about. So now I know that I need to reach out to Jordan and help out. But once again, there's so many ways that you can actually use this. So if we go back and look at some others, so even within Gmail, there's at least three to five others that you can add, and you can take a look here. You can then look at perhaps another, someone like Slack or GitHub. But if you don't see one that actually applies to you, feel free to go down here on the bottom and actually suggest on your own automation. Our dev team is looking for that feedback, is looking to actually hear back from you and your use cases and see what third-party platforms we can continue to add in monday.com where you can now integrate it. Great. So far, we've seen how we can pull information that are due within 1 week. We've been able to actually set triggers to actually help us out with some of our specific work tasks or projects. We've actually set up third-party integration so it can help us within other platforms. But now let's say you want to kind of zoom out and create kind of a dashboard of information where you can pull out different information and see it a little differently, not just in a board. So if we actually go down to your left, you're going to see My Dashboard, which is a new feature that we've released. If you click on it here, or on the one that I've created already, here's a nice little summary on some of the things that might be relevant to me and some of the board that it's actually pulling from. But let's do one together. So we're going to click here on New. That's going to automatically create a new dashboard. I'm going to rename it by clicking on it. And then from here, I can then add different widgets within the panes. So I'm going to start with creating first maybe a battery widget. So this widget now kind of gives me where the statuses fall. And what you do, you start by selecting a board. So we're going to, in this particular one, we're going to do the high level operations. From there, you see it's a pretty complicated. It's a lot of statuses, and it's perhaps because it's pulling everything from that board, but you can actually choose what groups it does. So we're going to go to next. This one is actually going to let us know which column we're pulling from, and we're just going to be pulling from the status column, which we've been using throughout this video. Then the next one is the actual groups. So from here, I actually only want to know ongoing tasks and active tasks. And that lets me know where we are in the scheme of things. Now let's add perhaps another widget. This one is maybe telling us a little bit about how much we're spending. So here we're going to do the numbers widget. It automatically knows which board has a particular formula or a numbers column, and we're going to click on it. We're then going to go to select which column is the one we want. Of course, we have one with quantity. These are amount of items. These are the prices, but what we really want to know is the total cost, right? So we're going to delete that. We're going to just finish total cost, which we use by a formula column. And by clicking on this, just like the numbers column, it allows us to select a particular currency or a particular function. But this is what I want. I want to see the sum in dollars. And then once again, I can actually see what is pending, what's this month and last month. So in this particular case, I just want to see what's this month and next month is going to cost our particular operations team. So great. So now we have those two. And perhaps I want another battery, but this one is regarding maybe my onboarding. Most likely is going to be with a particular person. So here I'm actually want to see where Sonetta is. And once again, I can see what I need. So I just need to know her first day and her first week. And of course, once again, you can change the name. So here's going to be Sonetta Grant. Here's going to be great. And from there, we continue. Let's say, for example, if I wanted to now have multiple boards in one view, I can now do that. So by adding a table, I can now select a high-level operations and perhaps my vendor list. From there, now that I have those two selected, I can go and see what groups I actually need. So I can clear these out. And then, okay, all I want to know is my office supplies. And then I also want to know my active task and my office setup. So here I will have two different boards in one view right below in this dashboard that I've created. But of course, there's many more. If you click here and click on more, you'll see there are so many other widgets that you can actually now add to this particular dashboard to allow you to really see the data that you need at a quick glance. So far in this video, we've seen 4 major advanced features that you and your team can use. We started with My Week. We then moved on to automations and integrations. And then we finished off with dashboards. I hope this video was very useful for you. Feel free to always continue to reach out to us at support.monday.com or at our email at support@monday.com. Have a good day.